From the Denver Broncos Media Center, welcome to Broncos Country Tonight.
Welcome to Broncos Country Tonight. We are in the final moments of training camp. It's going to wrap up this week with the Cowboys coming to town. And I'm thrilled to be joined in studio by the Hall of Famer, Steve Atwater. What up, At?
What up, R. Edwards?
Good to have you here, man.
Man, good to be here.
All right, so this is the last show I'm going to do with you here on TV before we basically have a whole camp recap next week. But I'd love to get your thoughts so far on what you've seen out there, offense versus defense, how they're battling, and how prepared this team looks heading into the preseason.
Yeah, I think, man, first off, you got to start off with Russell Wilson. I think he's been doing a great job of getting the team energized. All the work that they did over the summer together, I think is paying dividends. I think it's unusual for a team to really be as crisp as they are offensively. Now, it's not perfect, but they're extremely crisp for this to be the first year in the system. I think a lot of it has to do with the work that the guys were able to get in over the summer.
I think Russell Wilson raises the floor of everybody out there. Oftentimes we talk about it from the offensive standpoint, our expectations for the offense. But really when it comes down to it, there's a confidence that the defense gets. And you and I have talked about this
Absolutely.
a ton. The defense has this ability and understanding to know, hey, we got somebody on the offensive side of the ball that's going to keep us in games no matter what's going on.
Yeah, and I think that gives them an opportunity to make more plays because, they have the confidence that, hey, we're not going to be right back on the field. So when we're on the field, we got to make sure we take advantage of every opportunity we have. Now, obviously, you should do that every time you're on the field anyway. But I think when you have an offense that's clicking and rolling and scoring points, it gives the defense a little bit more incentive to match that.
I've really enjoyed watching some of the offensive weapons, the skill position players out there. Javonte Williams catching passes, Melvin Gordon running the rock. Also seeing Courtland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy sort of take their game to another level. It almost seems like a lot of the expectations of these young players are kind of buoyed a little bit by when you have a little more consistency, at least a little bit more consistency at the quarterback.
Yeah, I think most of Broncos country felt like we had a boatload of talent on this team. And I think with the addition of Russell Wilson, that's just going to be highlighted even more, just the talent level that we have. But now I think what's different from in the past is, we couldn't necessarily get those guys the ball
right
in clutch situations, where I think that's going to be a big change this year, where we'll be able to utilize a lot of those weapons out of the backfield on passes, deep passes down the field, those intermediate routes, just being able to throw accurate passes and convert. People been talking about, well, Jerry Jeudy, he hasn't done this, he hasn't done that. Well, guess what? Name me one wide receiver that's done well where they don't have a top 10 quarterback. It's just it's hard to do. And so we got the quarterback now. I'm expecting big things out of Jerry Jeudy. I would imagine you are too, and most of Broncos country. But Jerry Jeudy's the kind of guy that I think is going to deliver.
I think Jerry Jeudy's in for a big year. I think a lot of the guys are. And the offensive line, I know you're a big trenches guy, even being a safety, you're a big trenches guy. So what have you thought so far of how the offensive line and defensive line have practiced?
Yeah, I thought they've practiced pretty well. I got to see it live.
Yeah,
though,
no, you're right.
Because with the outside zone, there's going to be a lot of physicality involved in that. Getting that run game established, and just from the practices, I couldn't get a good read on how they'll be able to handle, the interior defensive linemen. So
is that something you're going to be really keying in on during the preseason games? Because we may not see a lot of the ones out there, so we don't really know that officially. But if the twos move the ball, you would imagine that, hey, the ones are better than the twos. So we expect better things from the ones than the twos. So I think that'll give us an indication of what they should look like. I think the whole team right now, they really haven't had a lot of just, to the whistle pads, taking guys to the ground. I haven't done any taking guys to the ground. Yeah.
So that's going to be quite different. And I think it's going to take a while for the teams to get used to that. Our team and other teams, because I think a lot of teams have a similar practice regimen as we have.
Well, speaking of that, do you think, and I don't exactly know how you do this, but is there a way to practice tackling, right? Because it feels like the only chance these guys get to do any of that is in the preseason, right? Because you don't do live sessions during camp because you don't want guys to get hurt. I remember Josie Jewell saying last week, well, you get to this point in your career, you know how to tackle. But at the same time, we've seen teams struggle with tackling. We've seen teams that have a high missed tackle rate. Yeah. So is there some way to practice that or get on that same page?
Yeah, I've always been of the belief that you still hit that tackling dummy and wrap up. They give you you get used to having that physical contact, driving your legs through, wrapping up the whole 9 yards. That's what I would say would help prepare the guys for having actual contact where you don't have to, take it out on your teammates and, your teammates have to get, bumps and bruises because of that. And also, hey, the running backs, somehow taking some blows from the dummies and, getting used to having some kind of contact. And they're getting some of that. I saw a little bit of thudding up out there today, so I thought that was positive as well.
All right, so we got the preseason game, the first one coming up. First of all, the Cowboys are going to be in town for practices. Do you like the joint practices? You a fan of that?
I am. Normally, though, guys get a little chippy, and there's normally a fight. But I don't think that's going to happen this year. Coach Hackett, we've only had one fight, surprisingly. I think it was a couple of days ago, and I love the way that Coach Hackett. I love the way Coach Hackett.
Yeah. I got you.
yeah.
You were talking for a while now. I understand.
I like the way that Coach Hackett handled it. He got the guys together, made them sit out for a while, and let them know that, hey, in the game, this is what's going to happen. You guys are going to get kicked out of the game, and you're going to cost us. Mm-hmm. And, the guys all hugged in the end. It was a beautiful thing. I don't know what I was saying, but
that's right. We were talking about the Cowboys joint practices.
That's going to be good. Yeah,
it's going to be good.
I think it's going to be good. Cowboys, they're going to come in and try to pound the ball, and they're going to try to hit you deep with Zeke Elliott, CeeDee Lamb. But I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I get to chance to see Micah Parsons here in person. That'll be a lot of fun too. So then you get to the preseason game.
Who said that Mike Parsons was going to be a good player when he came out in the draft?
Yeah, you said some nice things. I didn't ever have an issue with Micah Parsons as the player. It was some of the off-field stuff that was surrounded. But understanding you could have had either Micah Parsons or Pat Surtain and Baron Browning. I take Pat Surtain and Baron Browning.
Yeah, most definitely.
That's where I believe in.
Yeah.
But who knows? Steve Atwater, you're a Hall of Famer. I'm not a Hall of Famer. So
I'm just saying, hey, he's a great player.
He is. He's a very good player. Very good player. I think Baron Browning could actually do a lot of those things. But
I agree.
Just throwing that out there. Preseason game, who you got your eye on coming up in this game? You got some of the more down roster guys fighting for special teams opportunities. But there's some guys out there, especially in the receiving core. Now with the Tim Patrick injury, you're going to want to see some of these guys flash.
Yeah, you heard Coach Stooks mention that, Montreal Washington has looked really good, receiving punts, receiving kicks, and then also receiving the ball. But guess what? It's not live. So he wants to see it live. Once he sees it live, he'll have a really good feel for, hey, is he the real deal or not? And I think he is the real deal. But I'm with Coach Stooks. Hey, we got to see it live. And there's quite a few positions like that where guys are flashing, they look really good. But once you get in the pads, things are a little different. Obviously, I want to see Nick Bonito. I'm not sure how much we'll see of Greg Dulcich, but I'm looking for the guys, the draft picks, the guys who we don't know, they're not proven at this level yet, to see if they're able to step their game up and play with the big boys.
All right, it's been a really good training camp. We got preseason right around the corner. For Steve Atwater, I'm Ryan Edwards. Thanks for watching Broncos Country Tonight.